I've really been enjoying my Miss Geico 17-inch. And at the same time, I got a recoil 17-inch. The Miss Geico is a great boat, but I also got the recoil, and the recoil is brushless versus the Miss Geico's brushed motor. So of course the recoil is much faster. I wanted to get the feel of the recoil in the Miss Geico, so I was looking at ways to upgrade it, and in the end I decided that it was better to just go ahead and get a brushless catamaran. I was looking around at a lot of the manufacturers and companies, but I liked what I got from ProBoat before, so I decided to get the Blackjack 24.
Team Baxter.
So as I said, this is a 24-inch ready to run catamaran from ProBoat, of course, if you didn't notice the signage all over the box. I said in the intro, I like their product. I'm big on product loyalty, so when I like a product line, I generally tend to stay with it. So that's the reason I went with the Blackjack. So as I pull the top off, there's the Blackjack right underneath. Little cardboard tray to kind of hold it in there. A couple blocks of foam, kind of hold things in place. Move the stuff out of the way. There's the stand sitting right on top. Much larger stand for a much larger boat. Move that out of the way. On one side we've got a large box, I assume is the radio. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside for now and get to the boat, which is underneath. This is truly a 24-inch boat. It's pretty big. Perhaps a little larger than I thought. I'm going to set this down for just a second so I can get the stand out. So there's the stand, black plastic, nothing to it, just a place to set the boat. And now I can pull this boat out of this plastic. And it's a huge shiny red guy with lots of residue on there. Not sure what that is. Got a massive rudder on this thing. Much larger than what I'm dealing with now. And plastic over the bottom, I guess, to protect it a little bit. Pretty big boat in comparison to what I have now. I'm going to go ahead and set it down and see what's under the canopy. It sits down on there it's pretty sturdy. And this canopy actually screws on. I almost made a mistake and tried to pull it off, but it's got a screw that screws down on there. Keep the canopy tight. It's got a rubber seal running all the way around and the same on the inside, so I guess that two of them kind of help to keep water out, I hope. Probably end up taping this one up. Move the antenna out of the way, and I've got an ESC that's kind of just dangling there, unsecured. You can see the tape that used to hold it there. That's no good. So let me put that back where it's supposed to be. And the power switch is also kind of hanging out. Looks like this has been banged around a little bit in transport. But anyway, next to that dynamite ESC is a small dynamite receiver running up to this humongous brushless motor. That sucker's big. And that's water cooled with the output on the left side. it has a nice little grommet around it to kind of hold it in place, in comparison to the just where the tube just comes out of the side on my smaller boats. This holds a full-size battery. There's a little compartment there with nice battery straps to hold it down. The receiver comes with the EC3 connector on there. I'm going to have to clip those off and get a Traxxas on there. That'd void my warranty, but I think I'll be alright. A full-size Spectrum receiver in there. It's held down by a little strap. That's a Spectrum S603 servo. Not sure on the stats on that, but as far as I can tell, this is not a Spectrum receiver or Spectrum compatible, so it's odd that they'd include a Spectrum servo and not a Spectrum receiver, but anyway. Just taking a look around. This is the first time I've seen it too. It's much sturdier construction than that smaller boat I have. Nice to see a little more for my purchase. It's quite a large boat in comparison. There's that recoil 17. It's almost as big as the hatch, so not a small boat in comparison. So that's about it under the hatch. I'm going to put it back on. Make sure I don't get that antenna up in there. That's screwed down. And take a look at the back real quick. Huge rudder there. It's still pretty new to boats, so I don't really know too many details, but I can tell you that this has a rod end on it versus the solid one I have on the smaller vehicles. A rod end with a ball link that's screwed into what seems to be an adjustable point on the rudder. And then we have a much beefier propeller here behind it, which is held in place by a much beefier system and a flex shaft on there. You can see where it bends around to meet the back. So it looks like I have a little bit more adjustability here. It's nice to see. Looks like I can move the propeller around a little bit. So that's the boat for the most part. Set that not really aside, but move it off a little bit and get this radio out. So in that box there's nothing but the radio in some bubble wrap. This is the same ProBoat radio that I got with the Miss Geico. Little bit of throttle dual rate, steering dual rate, forward and reverse on the steering and throttle channels, on off switch, and a little bit of trim on the sides. Nothing more. It's pretty much all you need. In this case, I might actually go with the Spectrum receiver because I don't know about carrying around 3 remotes. This works fine on the recoil. Sure, it works fine here as well. There is nothing else in the box. That's all you get with the ProBoat Blackjack 24. You need to supply your own batteries and your own charger. So you get the boat, the stand, and the radio. That's what's in the box. Now I get to go check it out. Almost forgot one more thing. The manual in the bottom of the box. Nothing special about the manual, but the antenna tube is located in the manual bag, so you definitely need that for that loose antenna there. And that's everything in the Blackjack box.